All right, so today I'm going to talk more about the English duos alphabet, which is the English character alphabet. It's when you start pairing up English letters and giving them a sequential numerical value. So in the English reverse duos alphabet, the character for AM is 314. The character for MA is also 314. So 314 is a special number because it relates to the concept of pi, which is a number that is equal to 3.14. Something special about pi is that if you want to calculate pi on a basic calculator, you can use the equation 22 divided by 7, and that will give you pi. So with numerology, 22 reduces to 4. Thus, 22 divided by 7 looks pretty similar to 47, one of the most significant, if not the most significant number to the occult. Pi relates to the circumference of a circle because a circle, using the unit 1 for its diameter, always uses the unit pi for its circumference. So the diameter is the length across a circle, and the circumference is the length that surrounds the circle. So a unit of 1 can be literally any unit. You can say in the Star Wars universe, 1 unit, of measurement is equal to 47 centimeters in Earth measurement, or, 1 unit of measurement in the Rick and Morty universe is equal to 99 inches in the Earth measurement table, I guess. Okay, so moving on. The character for AM and MA in the English reverse duos alphabet is equal to 314. We already went over that. So here's something else that's pretty significant. The character for PY, which is also the character for YP, equals 47 in reverse duos. PY phonetically is the same as pi. What's also interesting is that the character for pi, PI, has the numerical value of 147 in the reverse duos alphabet. Words that begin with AM or MA begin with the value of 314. That's their first character's value when we're using the single last priority spelling. So these words relate to pi and have a connection with a circle, because to calculate measurements of a circle, you need to understand the concept of pi, because whenever we consider the length, which is the diameter of a circle, to be 1 unit, the circumference of that circle, so the length around it, is represented as pi. It's represented as 3.1415 on and on units. So here are some words that relate to pi, which relates to circles. Mason. We all know about the Freemasons here. Mason, see how it's spelled in the single last spelling in reverse duos? It starts out with MA. and then we do SO and N. But focus for this presentation on MA, which is equal to 314 in the reverse English Duos alphabet. So MA 314 relates to pi, which is 3.14. Pi relates to the character PY, which is 47 in the reverse Duos alphabet. The Masonic compass is set at 47 degrees. The Masonic compass is used as a tool to draw circles on maps. Maps are ways to navigate the Earth, which is a sphere. And circles and spheres both need the concept of pi when we're calculating them. So Freemasonry is a massive pyramid scheme where there are people on the higher echelons controlling the stupid people who, choose to join and choose to blindly follow the people on the higher ends of the pyramid because they get rewarded for following corrupted people on the higher echelons of the pyramid. Lower people include police officers. If you don't believe that police officers are part of the Freemasonic pyramid, the Freemasonic pyramid scheme, I just encourage you to travel to Hillsboro, Oregon, right near where I live, where right outside the courthouse is a Freemasonic temple or church. Freemasonic headquarters or something, right outside the courthouse. I wonder why. Anyway, Freemasonry is a massive pyramid scheme composed of many secret societies or secret circles in its higher levels. Secret circles. 3.14, MA 314. Freemasonry can be considered a criminal gang or organization. This is also called a mafia, which also begins with the character MA, which is equal to 314. A criminal circle is abbreviated as CC. C is the third letter of the ordinal alphabet. And the ordinal alphabet is found within the English Duos alphabet. So CC looks a lot like 33 with Gematria and Numerology. There are supposedly 33 degrees in Freemasonry. However, we know that people move beyond the 33rd degree, start their own secret societies, become even bigger criminals, just your usual normal behavior, I guess you could say, in our world. So another thing to remember is that JE and EJ is equal to 227 in the reverse Duos alphabet, and JV and VJ are equal to 227 in the Ordinal Duos alphabet. Remember that 22 divided by 7 equals 3.14, equals pi. And 22 reduces to 4. So with numerology, we see that 227 is numerologically similar to the number 47, which relates to the occult, relates to Freemasonry, etc. Perhaps it is a stretch to see it as this, but EJ is similar to the word ejaculation, while VJ is similar to vagina. If you look up on the Mac dictionary, it actually lists vajayjay as a slang word in the dictionary. Interesting, huh? So we covered that. So when sperm is ejaculated into the vagina, there is a chance for the creation of a child. This process is symbolic of the circle of life, of rebirth. The child is carried in a womb, which is a sphere that encompasses a baby. You know, the woman, the like mother's tummy, is another circle that encompasses the baby. The baby has a family that encompasses it. It's a family circle. So here are some words that begin with MA in the reverse duos alphabet. We see magic. Ritual circles are very important to magic and to the occult. Mage, someone who casts ritual circles. Master, maestro, major, majesty. You see how MA signifies superiority. With 3.14 being the circumference of a circle with a 1 unit diameter, we see that represents the full circle. It represents the maximum, which also starts with MA. So the maximum, without repeating the circle, is pi. And you can leave Masonic out of this, but why would you? Mass shooting. I will get on to the mainstream media later in this presentation. We see mad scientists who often are associated with, bizarre methods of conducting science, occult methods of conducting science, the obscure methods, it doesn't matter what the consequences of their experiments are for mad scientists, just like the Masons, doesn't matter what the consequences are to people. And we see magazines, which not so much anymore, but magazines used to be a method of controlling, children and teenagers and housewives, It was really a tool to make people believe that they're being liberated when they aren't, You know what kind of magazines I'm talking about, like fashion magazines and all that kind of stuff, like the teen magazines that teach teens how to have sex and, how to be slutty, all that stuff. Okay, moving on. Magnification uses MA, which is using glass circles to see further. Manipulation, which is used by the mainstream media to anger you with fake news stories that don't matter. Macabre, mascot, which, like the mainstream media, is used to work you up. So a really important use of MA 314 is the MAGA cult. So the slogan, "Make America Great Again," was a slogan used to manipulate Americans. Manipulate Americans into accepting Donald Trump into the position of the presidency. He didn't get voted in. It's just they needed enough people. He was going to be the president. He was chosen. They just needed enough people to be on board with him. Because if nobody was on board with him, then nobody would believe in the presidency. Many Americans heard this slogan and it actually resonated with them. They got trapped inside the magic circle that's hidden within the phrase. Make America. Remember that AM has the same value as MA in the English duos alphabet. Another use of MA was in Macbeth, which is a play that Shakespeare wrote. I'm not going to get into Shakespeare, but I never read Macbeth, but I looked up the the synopsis on Google, on Wikipedia, and it says it dramatizes the damaging physical and psychological effects of a political ambition on those who seek power for its own sake. And I believe in Macbeth, it wasn't just Macbeth who was psychologically affected and physically affected by his political ambition. People died because of it. So, before I get into the mainstream media, recognize that man, masculine, male, mammal, and mammary gland all begin with MA. This because the circle of life that has to do with all these things begins with the ejaculation of the male sperm into the female. And I forgot to put MA in the female here, but notice how the MA, the 314, is in the middle of FE and LE. The baby, which is another beginning of the circle of life, is in the middle of the mother. Before she gives birth, before she begins the circle of life, the child is in the middle of the mother in the stomach. So I forgot to put it in the presentation, but I also want to mention that the month of March begins with MA. And in March is the spring solstice, which is also symbolically a representation of the circle of life, a new beginning. Everything that was dead in winter begins again. All the animals start having children. The plants start to grow. It's not so cold. Understand that our language is crafted. Our entire worldview is, it's surrounded by magic, by the magical alphabet that is English. Okay, moving on. So, this is the process of creation. And creation, in other words, is make, which starts with MA. Another word, AM, for AM is amalgamate, which means combination, and a combination pertains to the male and female phenomena of creation, making a child to complete the circle of life. All right, I'm going to get into mainstream media now. So the purpose of the mainstream media is to make up news stories that manipulate the minds of the masses into thinking about events that are entirely scripted, made into the elitist, Masonic, Zionist New World agenda. This agenda is designed to distract the masses from the truth behind the agenda of the elites. And every day, us slaves are bombarded with the news stories after news stories after news stories after news stories after news stories, and all of them point us in every direction other than the most important direction, which is sticking our noses into the secret doings of the elite and figuring out why they choose to fuck us over so much. Why do they choose to fuck us over? All right, so slogans and social memes like MAGA, Make America Great, are essentially forms of manipulative magic that's used to make people believe that people in the government are going to solve the problems in this world, and that we should trust the government because people are going to, you know, work together in the government to help us people, help us slaves. They're working for us, They're collecting our tax dollars, they're collecting our time, they're, hiring police and soldiers who are taught to blindly follow, to blindly react, to, never go against what their superiors tell them to do, to protect themselves, you know? It's completely false and couldn't be further from the truth. MAGA, Make America Great. It's completely false because America was never great to begin with. Using the Make America Great Again spell is an example. We see that these fake movements prey on the weaknesses and hopes of common people who are slaves. The truth is that America was never great. From the beginning, the Masonic founding of America, everyone who was not an elite or working directly for and following the orders of the elite was brought to America to become a slave, or they were brought here to eventually have offspring that would become mind slaves who would work for the New World money and cheap consumer products and entertainment to enrich the elite and further their New World Order agenda. Everyone who is not an elite or working for them directly is a slave to the elite. There's no question about it. Black people, white people, Asians, Mexicans, South Americans, everyone is intended to be enslaved by the elite. There is no exceptions. Everyone is intended to be enslaved by elite people. The elite treat and have historically treated each of these race groups differently because doing so results in tension between groups who get different treatments. They say that white people are racist because they live in different neighborhoods than black people and that they're afraid of black people and Mexicans. This is all contrived. It's all systematically projected into the population to control them. Why? Because the elites know that racial groupings will fight with each other because humans are generally tribal. They just are. Often humans are also emotionally weak when they feel envious or jealous of others. So, the black people feel like, the white people grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth and nice neighborhoods, and the white people feel like, black people and minorities get all the special attention and stuff. To go to college, they get special grants and everything to go to, the college indoctrination program, it's all contrived. It's all systematically contrived to divide people, to make people envious and jealous of each other. There's no exceptions. If you're not an elite or working directly for them, you are a slave. Black people, white people, Asians, Mexicans, South Americans, the pygmies, they are all intended to be slaves. Let me just tell you about the school indoctrination and public schooling. All the things they don't tell you. They don't tell you about Gematria, We're taught not to think for ourselves. We live in a society where creativity is most often praised when somebody can recreate something exactly like how it appears. The kid who can draw something that looks more realistic is praised more than the kid who uses, colors or abstractly thinks of things because the elite don't want people to think creatively. They don't want people to change their system because it's a threat. Creative people are a threat to the elite. See beyond the bullshit. See beyond the bull's shit. See beyond the bull cult. Look them straight in the eye and kill them with your mind, Don't listen to what they have to say. It's bullshit. Magic, M-A magic, is the manipulation of man. So here, I'm just going to conclude this with a little bit of an ending statement and then a quote. Our language has been carefully constructed for the benefit of the people who crafted it, the Freemasons, the Zionists. It's crafted so that people who understand the numerological, symbolic, and esoteric nuances of this language, it's crafted so that they can use it to control the people who don't understand and know about it. The people who don't understand and know about how our language is used this way shouldn't have any say in politics, religion, government, police, military, and control, because they have no clue how those things are used against the people. All they have to go off of is the things that are in the mainstream media, the things that tell them what to think about, that give them an either or choice. Anything or anyone that has any suspected connection to the secret religions and societies that uses this language or magic should be questioned and considered a threat to us normal people. Why do they get things that we don't? This is, actors, people in Hollywood, people in the police department, people in the military. All these people have a connection to it. They should be questioned. They shouldn't be taken as truth tellers. You should be skeptical of them because they're dangerous. This includes people like judges, the court. They're dangerous people. They have the power to imprison you. They have the power to reap you of every single dollar you own. They have the power to kill you and cover it up. Familiarize yourself with this magical alphabet. See through the bullshit. And here's my quote. Yes, I know my enemies. Compromise, conformity, assimilation, submission, ignorance, hypocrisy, brutality, the elite, all of which are American dreams. And that's a quote by Zach De La Rocha from the song Know Your Enemy by Rage Against the Machine. All right. Thanks for listening. Good luck out there. Spread the knowledge. Think for yourself.